Good evening. Back for another stream of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. We left off, we had started in on the second day of investigations. There was a murder during the performance, and we're trying to figure out what exactly happened. Let's see. Skim through these right quick so I can remember. Vanishing, right, so there was a vanishing act, although Prosecutor Gavin's guitar caught on fire during the trick, so something went wrong. Yeah, like, I'm assuming that little diamond she's standing on was, like, some kind of transport mechanism. Oh, right. And we found, the switch inside the piano. And then, oh, yeah. So our founder, Magnifi Grammary, was truly a genius, a worker of miracles. Okay, yeah, so this was the guy who originally started their magician's troupe, and then this guy and another one picked up after him, I suppose. I'll never forget the one I saw when I was little. How he made that whole jumbo jet go, what happened to the jet again? Apparently someone doesn't remember it as well as they thought. All the would-be magicians who came to his door, only Zack and I had the talent. In no time at all, Fallon and Zack were the shining stars in the Grammary crown. Cool, huh? And Zack Grammary was my daddy. Now that Magnifi and Zack are gone, I have but one wish. Let it be I, Fallon Grammary, who brings the Grammary miracle back to the big stage. I'm rooting for you. Miss Trucy, you cannot grow up quick enough. I need your skill by my side. One skill coming up. You managed to get off the topic of the case so quickly all the time. Yeah, this is, we found Machi and Mr. Latusa on top of that tower. Yeah, I used to not like high places, now I hate them. I think it would have been nicer if we found a dead body closer to the ground. But that reminds me, Daddy's bad with heights too. Huh, no kidding. Took me on a Ferris wheel ride a while ago, you know? Halfway through, his face got all green and he mumbled objection over and over. Poor guy. So is there some way we can examine the mechanism for the stage? The big instrument case. For contrabass, I think. Could fit 20... Oh, right. I think we already talked about this one. 5 Trucies in there. I think we looked at these too. Yeah. You'll never be able to climb another tower again without thinking about it, you know? I'll never be able to climb a tower again, period. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything that will let us examine the mechanism. My shock and chagrin. All I can see before me is the stage and me upon it. So you're not helpful. True, you're getting on and there's not much time left to make your mark, huh? This is not how I was seeing it. So he doesn't care about what I have to show him, I get the point. Yeah. Let me put the stunt in this video right in the middle of the song. I didn't see a stunt. Oh, that? I guess I'm so used to seeing that happen I didn't even notice. So young to be so jaded. A simple sleight of hand, a petite prestidigitation, a modicum of magic from me to you. So that's why you're at the concert. So you watch my trick to it. Can you tell me how... Oh, right. He's not going to tell me how to do it. I have to figure it out on my own, of course. I remember now. Yeah. So you're not going to help with the murder investigation. Thanks. You know, now that I think about it, I'm just noticing that Baruchi's wearing kind of looks like this one, but he doesn't seem to recognize it. Yeah, I don't know if this guy's helpful or not. I would talk to her. Let's go look at your performance again. It was even better the second time. Thank you. That reminds me, that was an incredible illusion you pulled off. Illusion? You teleported from one stage to the other, remember? Ah, yes. Apparently they hired a professional magician. I was wondering, do you think you could tell us how it was done? Afraid I cannot. Mr. Grimley made me swear to never tell a soul. I was afraid of that. Hard to be a magician if you can't keep a secret, you know. I'm reminded that I wish to speak to you about something. When I was walking this hallway before, I stumbled upon a small device of some kind. It was lying on the floor. Yeah, it's this thing, yeah. It's been lying there since the day before yesterday. Might I touch it? I thought as much. What did you think? This is one of our headsets. Everyone on staff wears one during a concert. I wonder whose this is. We use it for communication. It would be quite inconvenient should it go missing. I'll hold on to it for you then. We'll give it to Prosecutor Gavin when we see him. Yes, that's best. Thank you. So can I put it on? Attached. I'm not some kind of robot at all. Everyone on staff is wearing one of these headsets. This might warrant some further inquiry. All concert staff are wearing one. That's correct. You need them to communicate across such a large stage. Everyone in the staff had one, of course. And all the band members, too, I should think. Prosecutor Gabby... Yeah. Quite helpful though limited. They work within 30 feet or so. After all, they're only for use on stage. A stronger signal would interfere with the sound system. That makes sense. I think someone would notice if they dropped their only communications lifeline. So why was this one lying here? It's a good question. I guess the thing would be to figure out whose it was. But, yeah, she doesn't know about that. Apparently doesn't have anything to say about that. We're already out there. We're already in there. I guess this would be the more likely place to look. Oh, we know who's here. There's only one person I know who can munch with such venom. What are you doing here? Hello, Emma. You're looking as grumpy as ever. Oh, am I supposed to be happy? Give me the second degree in court, and Prosecutor Gavin makes me look like a fool. I'm talking about the bloodstain Mr. Latouche left. My department chief had a field day with that one. Even a blind person could see the shooter wasn't blind. Funny guy, huh? That bloodstain helped uncover the biggest mystery of all. Now we know that Mr. Latouche was really with Interpol. We wouldn't have found that out without you. I suppose. Maybe that's why the chief gave me these after he was finished chewing me out. Said it was my reward. Are chocolate snackers popular down at the precinct or something? I think they might just be popular with her. Okay, you're not gonna find any clues in here. But I did find something strange. Something strange. So what'd you find? It's so little I must have passed over it yesterday. Found it under the sofa. What is it? Part of some device, I think. I haven't a clue what. Some kind of trigger, seems. It's sticking out from the end looked familiar, so I had it examined. Turns out it's an antenna. Ooh, like on a Beetle? Like on a cell phone. This device must use an electronic signal of some sort. Something about this and the receiver outside might be connected. I met my embarrassment quota for the year, that's for sure. Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? How? I mean, think about it. Now you don't have to be embarrassed about anything else all year. If only it worked that way. It just bugs me to think that the little kid outsmarted me. It makes him even more suspicious now that we know he can see. He could have seen the air duct, and he could have shot the revolver. That's not how it sounded in Lemuror's testimony. You mean her saying she heard Detective Darian's voice at the scene? That's right. Why can't we have a normal, straightforward killing once in a while in this country? I'll pretend I didn't hear that. Is that true what you said in court today? You know, about the case. About how everything was happening according to those song lyrics. The guitar serenade, you mean? I found the link, you know. Yeah. Prosecutor Gavin's keyring's being stolen. She flew through the air. His guitar caught on fire. And then a bullet came up into the sky with a guitar. Well, 15 feet up at least. It's kind of hard to chalk it up to coincidence. I know. I found it. Think the same person did all of this? Don't ask me. I didn't do it. Neither did I. I couldn't fit through that air vent anyway. What? You all think I did it? Sometimes I worry about that girl. Guess it wouldn't hurt to take another look at the vent. Machi Tobias's fingerprints. What's with the frown? Can't a girl frown anymore? Is that a crime? No, of course not. I just meant Tobias's fingerprints are on that air vent. Why would his fingerprints be there if he wasn't the shooter? It's not a question I want to have to answer in court. Hey, wipe that frown off your face. One stick in the mud for a crime scene, please. I guess girls can frown, but defense attorneys can. Was toward the thick wall. That revolver really was something else. I wonder if someone as little as me could even fire it. Dislocating your shoulder would kind of put a crimp on your stage career. Eddie always has stiff shoulders. Maybe that could loosen him up. Don't even mention it. I'm afraid he might go out and actually try it. Nah, he doesn't have the guts to pull the trigger, I bet. After the shooting took place, Laura tried to come to the dressing room and dropped her brooch. I think that fits with the other stuff we know. Do you think the timing of when she dropped it is important? Yeah, something about it bugs me, that's for sure. Chalk outline. It's torn up here. That's the part we did the luminol testing on in court. No, it's lumin. She did say luminol. I didn't realize that, yeah. It's kind of scary when it comes to science. Just learn the word and not incite a wrath again. I don't think we'll learn anything more about the gun. I mean, we know it was his. It's like, man, but how about the person who shot him? Wouldn't they have to be about his size? It still makes more sense for it not to be the kid. You saw the crime pro. I wish it was that simple. It's hard to see a crime when you can't see, but she did hear it. The window was closed. Maybe she heard it some other way. I wish we could go out into this hallway and see if there's anything out there. But, try presenting a few things. Nope. Rate of chewing is increasing. I think you could take a look at this. Small device. Looks like a transmitter. transmitter. Press the switch here and it sends out a signal. No idea what it's for though. Signal? You mean an electronic signal? What is it, Apollo? Say, Emma, isn't that strange object you said you found? Oh, this. Try pressing the switch. Ouch! It's on fire! Emma's device is on fire. What's the big idea? Well, now we know what this is, an igniter. Part here must work like a lighter. Nearly lit me up, that's for sure. Hey, don't get me like that. I didn't do it on purpose. Suppose. At least we're getting somewhere with this chase. Hey, Apollo, let's ask Emma more about this switch, now that she has some first-hand experience. Yeah, I got a feeling I know where this is going to. Sent you to get me. Not out to get you, promise. Try burning again with that trigger of yours, and I'll throw 100 bags worth of snackoos at you. Never seen someone munch so furiously. Okay, so she's still not interested in this. What are you trying to do, burn me alive? Come on, it was just a few sparks. It says you weren't the one holding it. There's enough sparks flying around here just with you two talking. Anyway, now we know this is a remote for an igniter. Let me see that for a second. Well, this is definitely a little transmitter. Signal's weak, probably only reaches 30 feet. Transmitter, huh? Incidentally, if you look at a cross-section diagram of the stage area, let's see, 30 feet from Lemorore's dressing room, that covers the backstage completely. Also looks like it would cover the stage. Kinda seems unlikely anyone would use this on stage. Well, not necessarily. I mean, we know something caught on fire during the performance, and now we have something that can cause a sudden spark of fire.
Hey, you need to calm down. It is not your dinner time yet. Just because I'm talking doesn't mean it's your dinner time. What? Okay, you sit there. I'll have to look for more clues elsewhere then. Better just knowing what this thing is now. Have to look into igniters a bit more later. Good luck! I'd like to know a bit more about igniters myself. Yeah, I mean, if I had to make a guess, I'd guess this thing was originally in Gavin's guitar. And then the transmitter, you know, it could have been, because it was placed in the piano, it could have been triggered by like one of the piano hammers or something. So then the person, whoever set it up, wouldn't even have to be there to operate it, since they know the piano would only be played during the performance. But then, one, who put it there, and two, how did this get backstage? Yeah, he doesn't know about this. There is something else out here. What, come to laugh at the murderer? Darian?
Milk bag opens her pie hole, and wham bam, my life goes down the chute. Thanks. They won't let me work while I'm a suspect. Aaron isn't in the best of moods, is he? Not many people are these days, it seems. It is a crime scene, not exactly the happiest place to hang out. Then Gavin had to go and rub salt in the wound. My alibi's rock solid. Rock solid! Yeah, it would seem to be the case. You have to ask? The shooting happened right in the middle of the third set. That's right. The music was blaring when we heard those gunshots. Found Mr. Latouche dead. You had 10,000 witnesses who saw me, too. Right there on that stage. Your guitar playing was something else. Thanks, little lady. See? This whole thing's a sham. I can't believe they aren't letting me work. No need to yell at me. It's Lemberor's fault. She was the one who said she heard his voice at the moment of the crime. Man, I never even talked to that old windbag. How could she possibly identify me? That's also a good point. I mean, she would have had to heard his voice previously at some point, right? I'll let you work. He won't let me work. Gavin says I gotta lie low till the suspicion is cleared. What suspicion? He can be such a stick in the mud. Mr. Gavin, a stick in the mud? He may look all flashy and showy, but he's straight as an arrow, man. Except when he's depressed. You hear him whining the other day? Oh, you mean the thing with the mixing board? Right. Part is off. Mm-hmm. He's just a perfectionist is all. Not a bad guy, really. Well, I think the Gaviners are the best. I have all your albums. The band's fine, too. Gavin can write a good tune, I'll give him that. Come to think of it, I haven't seen Prosecutor Gavin around much. Oh, him? He's down at the prosecutor's office, most likely. Prosecutor's office? Never been there, have I? Date on the victim should have come in from Interpol. Normally I'd be down there dealing with it. Normally. Apollo, let's go check it out. I've always wanted to see the prosecutor's office. Maybe that's not such a bad idea. Right on. Say hi for me, okay? Oh, and screw you. And tell him I went into that crime scene. We'll be going now. Hey, wait. Yes? What do you really think happened? Really? You don't think I did it, right? Well, great. Way to instill the guy with some confidence. Just remember, I was ripping you up on stage when it happened, okay? Ripping! You get led astray by some siren song, eh? Get this one wrong and you'll be eating humble pie for a year. I'll bake it myself. Let's not talk to him anymore, alright? Detective Darian Crescent. It's one stone I'd leave unturned if I had a choice. Of course, his office is just full of guitars and music stuff. So, this is it. The Gaviner's head office. It's not the band's office, it's the prosecutor's office. Yeah, so that's why I'm asking, what is this creepy thing? Object, whatever. Looks like Prosecutor Gavin is on the phone. Oh well, guess we'll have to come back. Or we can hide behind that bookshelf real quiet-like. That's eavesdropping. Why? We'd just be waiting, quietly, so he won't notice. What if we heard something scandalous about the band? She'd make a good reporter for a gossip mag. What? A replica? So why was he after it in the first place? Yeah, Latouche. Latouche? Look, don't talk to me about those Borginians, okay? Just give me that report, chop chop. And stop leaving mysterious objects in my office, okay? It's times like this when I start to miss Darian. Huh? Hiya. Teehee, just thought we'd drop in. Hope you're not mad. How could I be? There's not enough teehee in the world in any case. Have a seat. Prosecutor Gavin, the philanthropist. Watch and learn, Apollo. So, who've you come to see? Huh? Clavier, lead vocalist for the Gaviners, or Prosecutor Gavin, scourge of the courtroom? What do you think he means, Apollo? What do you think he means, Apollo? I think he's giving us a choice. We can either ask him about the concert, or the case. Which way to go? I mean, hopefully we'll be able to ask both. I mean, we kind of need to find out about both. Because, I mean, there's the guitar right there. I guess we'll start with the case and see what happens. Reminds me, did you see the paper today? Always read the TV section. Good girl. How about you, hair forehead? I read the funnies. Then you will not have seen this. Concert of Tragedy, the prosecutor's deadly song. Ooh, is that a new show? I haven't heard about that one. It's not a show, it's an article. News, you know? Oh, does this have anything to do with the case? Yes, Trucy. My phone has been ringing off the hook. How does it feel to take a man's life with a song? If you ever hummed a man all the way to death row, do you think you could sing for me over the phone? Okay, that last one's a little weird. That was all Apollo's idea. Hey. Is that newspaper over there too? Yes, the Borginian Daily Bugle. Go ahead, take a look. Well, it's got that same thing as the card, and then looks like a picture of Latouche as well. Oh, that's right. Suffice it to say, this is big news over there as well. They didn't go so far as to mention the lyrics to my song. Probably no one in Virginia could believe it. It's probably seen as just a theory at this point. Their journalist didn't see the need to mention it. Makes sense. I hardly know what to think of it myself. Why would this be a clue? Her testimony will probably be an evening edition, I imagine, which is why I've had Darian step down from the investigation for now. Yeah, we ran into him moping in front of the Coliseum. Lemmeror was my invited guest, so it is a rather delicate situation. You understand how much I want to solve this case, quickly if possible. I really love that song. It has such a great atmosphere to it. I co-wrote it with Lemmeror, if I remember correctly. That's right, it was last year. I'd gone to tour Borginia's legal system, as a matter of fact. And that's when you heard Lemmeror's voice? It was at a small jazz club. I wept that night. I knew I had to meet her, to talk with her. So I used my influence, which is not inconsiderable, to arrange a meeting. Wow, prosecutors really have a lot of clout. I think he's sort of a special case, Trucy. Thankfully, she liked the work I did, and we wrote a song right there, backstage. Machi on piano, that dulcet voice, and myself on a guitar that I borrowed from Lemmeror. And music history was made. Probably not an experience your average lawyer would ever have, like Apollo, say. It is a memory I hold dear, and the song we wrote that night was this. And that very guitar is right over there. You mean this charred lump? Don't call it a lump, that's a piece of history. And it's only brown, not really charred. No matter, I shall never sing that song again. I wouldn't have used that guitar again either, even if I could have. What happened during that song, anyway? Why did his guitar suddenly catch on fire? You think you could show it to us? Your charred, slightly burnt guitar? I'm sure he doesn't mind. What more could happen to it? That was an impressive bit of pyrotechnics to this. That's the guitar from the concert, isn't it? I thought it was one of the staff playing a gag on me. Never guessed that wasn't the end of it. That specialist analyzed the guitar, incidentally. Oh? Did you find anything out? He didn't have a lot of time, so it's still unclear, but the results he came up with were intriguing. How does that guitar tie into everything that went on? Sounds like something we should ask about. Yeah. I think I have an idea of what happened, just piecing it all together. Played lovingly for many years, a guitar befitting a woman like Lemmeror. How did it end up here? She gave it to me. I mentioned how much I enjoyed playing it that night. She made a present of it. This guitar is from Virginia? That it is. We couldn't carry it on the plane. Changes in air pressure and humidity ruined the wood. So we vacuum packed it in Lemmeror's studio. Used a special shipping service available to me for transporting evidence. They brought it right up to my office for me. Pristine and untouched. See, prosecutors do have a lot of clout. I still think he's a special case. Such a valuable guitar, it's too bad it got burned. What was it that you were saying earlier? Something about intriguing results from an examination of the guitar? That's right, what was that all about? Well, you know how the guitars have a round hole in the front? It's called the sound hole. Ah, so that's what it's called. Well, they found something attached to the wood just inside the hole. A broken device of some sort. Broken device? Yes, this in fact. The examiner is busy with evidence for the case now, however. So he'll be checking this out once he's finished with everything else. Well, I think, looks strangely familiar. I wonder if we can present him with the other one that... yeah. Has to be one of these. What is it, Apollo? That device that was found in your guitar. Take a look at this. Why, that looks like the same thing. What is it? It's an igniter. Another one? It's the crime scene in Lemuror's dressing room. Detective Sky found it, actually. At the scene of the crime? What could that mean, I wonder? I guess we might as well show him the trigger for it as well. About this remote. Wait, excuse me, did you say something? This remote control might be valuable ammunition for the trial tomorrow. It's too early to show my hand now. Oh, okay. Someone with a loud voice would speak more clearly. Alright, fair enough. Looks like one of our tour issue headsets. Why are you wearing it, Fraulein? Thought it'd be cool. I could pretend I was concert security and stuff. Actually, we found it at the venue and thought you might want it. Oh no, please, you keep it. It goes well with your cape, Fraulein. Tee-hee, you think? She does look like she belongs on a stage, that's for sure. So he doesn't know anything about it. Apologies, there's no way I'm going to talk details about the case with you. If you want to get my attention, bring me something dramatic. I'm not here to get your attention, Gavin. I'm here to get your information. Anything more about his keyring? I didn't think so. Maybe that's it. I can guess I can poke around a little bit. Like, what is this thing? What's on the plate there? Is that gum? Maybe he was chewing it when the phone rang? So I put it on the plate for later consumption. You think a rock star could afford a fresh stick? Don't jump to any conclusions now. It's no chewing gum. Take a closer look. Although I really shouldn't be offering, should I? What is that? Looks like a lump of plastic? Wait, that phone call. Yeah, so that's why I'm asking what is this creepy thing, object, whatever. The Prosecutor Gavin is on the phone. Replica. Prosecutor Gavin, does this have something to do with Mr. Latouche? Wait a second. You were listening to my phone call, weren't you? Who, us? I tried to stop him, really, but he forced me to. Hey, you were the one digging for a scandal, Miss Reporter. To tell the truth, I'm not even sure what it is. But apparently it's a model of something undercover agent Mr. Latouche was after. This lump? Do you mind telling us what you do know about it? Okay. This was found in Mr. Latouche's bag. It's apparently a replica of something. A small lump about 1.5 inches long. We analyzed it, but there's not much to say other than it's a lump of plastic. Perhaps it was to be used in the identification of whatever it is a replica of. You mean, whatever Mr. Latouche was after. Seems to be the most logical explanation. Oh, well, what is it? Don't ask me, Fraulein. No, if you don't want to tell us, you could just say so. I put it in a request to Interpol via my contacts in Borginia, but apparently there's a block on information somewhere along the chain. Oh. Yeah, there's something either Interpol or Borginia doesn't want to share. Something about this little piece of plastic. Mr. Latouche went through all that trouble to become Lammermoor's manager, just to come to this country to find out more about this lump? And he died for it. Weird. Well, that only gives us more questions. Perhaps she knows something about it being a Borginian. I believe that covers everything I'm at liberty to talk to you about. Thanks for dropping by, Herr Forehead. Thanks? Why, you gave me so much information. That igniter, for instance? Oh, that. I've never met an attorney so forthcoming with the prosecution. It's a big help. Or perhaps you're just a tad naive. Hmm? I guess I could have hid it, but somehow showing it felt like the right thing. I could say the same to you, Prosecutor Gavin. Thanks for the information. About the strange lump of plastic. The one that Mr. Latouche was investigating. Hey, that's right. I've been thinking, Herr Forehead. We encounter many incidents in our lives, all of us. Not all of them simple. Especially not the ones where people are killing to song lyrics. That's why I try to at least remain simple inside. And I keep a simple goal, to discover the truth. That's why I like to keep relations civil, yeah? That is all. I can live with that. Mr. Prosecutor? Fraulein? Can I ask you why you sing in a band? Ah, because I want women to turn and look when I walk down the Refreshingly direct, I suppose. Pretty simple, too. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got work to do. Another time, perhaps. It's an interesting dynamic between these two that seems to be different from previous games where the prosecutor and defense attorney would, like, have some kind of, you know, deep-seated history between them and would have to learn to work together. He just seems like, yeah, you know, whatever. We're going to figure out what happened here. And he can't, you know, play too nicely with me, but the fact that we're able to talk about things, you know, it's kind of nice, although it doesn't make for much drama, I suppose. Insanely big speaker for a room this small. Oh, look, all the CDs are Gaviner's CDs, of course. Like his chair is like, I'm gonna sit in now while no one's looking. Wow, so this is what it feels like to be a star. Who would have thought a chair could bring so much joy into someone's life? I can imagine sitting here strumming my guitar. Oh, it's you, Herr Forehead. Sorry, I'm busy. Woo! You know, that was a remarkably good imitation. Maybe I'll make that part of my Wonder Bar repertoire. Huh. Guitars are vintage models, probably pretty expensive. Even tightly under lock and key. Aren't you good at picking locks? Paulo, you don't want me to... Well, I do kind of like that cherry red one. I'm kidding. Oh, that's too bad. Sorry, my little thief in the making. Maybe next time. Charred remains of what was once a fine guitar. So he got it as a present, and he had it shipped back from Borginian in a vacuum-sealed case. So that means that if there was something put in it, it either had to have been before it was wrapped up, or I guess in between when he pulled it out and played it? Got some really fancy monitors, too. Should turn it off for him? Nah, wouldn't want to make him angry. Okay, if you say so. It's kind of a waste of electricity. You just want to play with his TV. I know you. How'd you know? It's just, I've never seen a TV this big before. Again, this is a fairly old game from the original. I think that was mentioned previously in the size of a television. It's actually a monitor. Yeah, it's no soap operas, no Saturday morning cartoons. I had no idea. There, you'll get over it. No, that was still just the chair. Silence. Oh, I'm sorry. It's nothing, really. I'm just wondering, wouldn't it be cool if that replica just happened to vanish? Ah, the young magician at work again. Though a simple disappearance would kind of lack punch. What if it hatched into a dove, or a person dressed like a dove? There she goes. Wait, so what's this highlighting? Before we again, the view is looking out the window. People look like little ice grains. Hey, that one with the blonde hair. Do you think that's Mr. Gavin? He's a little too small to see. Look at the one next to him with the big black poof of hair pointing straight ahead. Oh yeah, that's Darian, alright. Huh. I mean, I guess they can still chat, even if he's not working on the case. Looks like Machi's in questioning. Huh, police must have a Borginian interpreter. That's no fair. I wish we could talk to him. Guess we'll just have to come back later if we want to see him. I guess so. Oh, it's you. You came at a good time. Hello there, Emma. What's up? Either of you know where Lemmeror is? Well, I saw her in the backstage hallway a while ago. Yeah, that's strange. What's strange? Can't find her anywhere. I was supposed to bring her to the prosecutor's office. Hard to imagine her wandering off somewhere on her own. Being that she's blind and all. Yeah, we'll help you look for her. Great, thanks. This place is deserted. Wonder where Lemmeror went off to. Sure, she's okay on her own. She seems resourceful. Guess, but I can't help worry about her a little. In the wings. Huh? The stage is pitch dark. Power breaker must be off for this section. Great. I'll go get someone. Yipes, it was really dark out there. Dark? That's all Lemmeror has when you think about it. What would it be like to live in a world of darkness? Hey, Apollo. Huh? Doesn't something about the stage seem different to you? Like something's changed. I can't put my finger on it, but it's bugging me. Now it's bugging me too. What's she talking about? I mean, the thing I would notice is this. This was open before. Yeah. Huh, guess someone closed it. Wait, look, where the case closes. Something's sticking out. That doesn't look like an instrument. You don't think it's... Let's open it, Apollo. Eek! Lemmeror! Emma, we have to get Emma. Lemmeror was taken directly to the hospital. I ran around barking orders and making phone calls. Trucy just clung to my arm and cried. And me, I was still in shock. 2 bodies in 2 days is too many. Someone just tried to, like, stuff her in a case? Emma, how's Lemmeror? Is she okay? Ah, you. We all owe you a big thanks, that's for sure. So, she's okay? Yes, she came to a short while ago. We found her before it was too late. That's good to hear. So, what happened? Someone attacked her. She was struck on the forehead. By who? We don't know. They hit her on the forehead, right? That's right in front of her. How could she... Right, Trucy. Would you like to see her now? Is that alright? She wants to thank you for saving her life. Ah, Mr. Attorney, you were the one who found me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm just glad you're okay. Tell me, what happened? It was after I spoke with you in front of the dressing room. I sensed someone approaching. I thought it might be someone coming to see me, but they said nothing. When I went to return to my dressing room... You were hit? I knew, that very moment, I knew. The assailant was trying to kill me. It was lucky for me the first blow did not knock me out. I turned and ran for the stage. Someone was chasing me. I could hear footsteps. Yet I reached the stage first.
Why the stage? I had overheard maintenance people talking. Power to the stage area was off, they said, for electrical work. Ah, darkness is my ally. There was a contrabass case near the stage. That is where I hid, so the assailant couldn't see you. Once in the case, I'm afraid I passed out. Wow, that sounds like a really close call. So who closed the case, or did she close it? Do you have any idea who might have been? Unfortunately, no. Whoever it was, they said not a word. Too bad. Yet, when I consider that I was struck high on the forehead, I must conclude that whoever hit me was taller than I am. Good point, she's sharp. And you're much taller than I am. You're about as tall as Apollo. So that means it was likely an adult and probably a man. Could it be him? But why would anyone attack you? The detective asked me this too, and to her I gave the same answer I give you. I don't know. Could ask her about this. I wanted to ask you about this. Do you know what this is? This is what? Mr. Latouche was carrying it. It's a replica of the thing he was after. He was after? You know, in his secret identity, as an undercover agent. So that's what he was doing. You mean you know what? Yes, I know, of course. This must be a Borginian cocoon. Or rather, a convincing replica thereof. I've never heard of a Borginian cocoon before. Why would he be carrying this around? Was it some kind of souvenir? I wonder. Well, they call it Borginian. It must only be found in Borginia. For certain, all in Borginia know of these. It's a cocoon, so do you get silk from it? I do not know the details, I'm sorry to say. I thought she said all in Borginia knew of these. There is one fact I do know about the cocoon, though. Something all in Borginia know. What's that? The cocoons, they are not to be taken out of the country. If someone does and is caught, they will be put to death. To death? Why? I do not know. Yet, if Interpol was involved, I'm sure there's a good reason. This is just a piece of plastic. He was carrying a replica, but looking for the real deal. That's my best guess. So that's what he was up to, tracking down Borginian cocoon smuggling. Seems I was marked. Life changed for me with the popularity of my songs. I began to travel around the world. Ah, so you could have brought those Borginian cocoons with you. On my trips, yes, that was probably the suspicion. And Mr. Latouche was placed as an undercover agent to look into it. Borginia is a small, sheltered country. Not many of our people venture into the world outside. Is that why they suspected you? But Mr. Latouche wasn't a Borginian, was he? He was an Interpol agent, which means... What, Apollo? There must be some reason why Borginia doesn't want those cocoons getting out. Something scary enough to get Interpol involved. Like what? How could such a tiny ball of thread cause such a commotion? And Mr. Latouche had Lammermoor marked. It couldn't be her. I mean, given that she can't see, I feel like it wouldn't be that hard for someone else, like, in her entourage to be doing it, and she wouldn't even know about it. Because, I mean, as long as you don't make any noise, and she doesn't find it, that's one other person I need to talk to. Thank you for talking to us, Lammermoor. It's the least I could do. Actually, I have another request. It's within my power. I need an interpreter, someone who speaks Borginian. Paula? Would you come with us, if you're well enough? I see. Yes, yes, of course. I shall accompany you. Where are we going? Detention center? Yup. Machi, came to talk to you about the case. Could you interpret for us? Yes. Machi, I'd like to talk to you about when we first met. We still thought you were blind. Now we know the truth. You can see, right? I was completely fooled myself. Machi, isn't there another secret you're hiding from us? Wait, Mr. Attorney, what do you mean by secret?
What do I mean by secret? Well, if I'm not mistaken, you know something about this, don't you? Hey, you got a reaction, a big one. Machi, you didn't. Trilogy and I are trained to see people's uncertainty. Not that we would have needed any training to see that one. Mr. Attorney, please tell me what this is all about. Lammeror, please interpret. Very well. I know you know something about this by your reaction. If you won't tell me, I might have to give it to the prosecution and have them look into it. He asks you to wait. Do not be so hasty. Do you know everything? Yes, everything. Well, sort of. Have him tell us about it. Very well. What is this thing, anyway? Cocoon, the silk, is a potent cure. A cure? Must cure some disease. It's a cure for incuritis? Okay. Is it made of unobtainium? It's a cure, why keep it in Borginian like that? Just think of all the lives they could save by sharing the medicine. I don't understand the reasons myself. Okay, well, at least we know what it is, a cure. Mr. Latouche was after cocoon smugglers. Wait, was Machi... Machi, you weren't... He couldn't be a smuggler, he's so little. Well, you're only 15 and you're sort of a magician, aren't you? Oh, that's true, I am sort of a magician. She said sort of. Hope to have a copy of that security camera tape. Well, Machi, are you a smuggler? He won't tell me. First he plays blind, now he plays dumb. I wonder, do you think he brought a cocoon here to sell it to someone? Machi really did bring one into the country. Was he planning on making a deal for its sale? I can't go home. Can't go home? I can't go home to Borginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Borginia is death. That's right, it's punishable by death. About the case. What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latouche's death. This meeting's over. Darian? What do you mean? Visiting hours aren't over yet. There's a call from Machi from the Borginian embassy. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy, we're leaving. Darian, wait. I never liked you, either of you. Huh? What did we do? Hey, Apollo. He didn't want us to hear what Machi had to say. Apollo. And there can only be one reason why. Why is everyone ignoring me? Oh, sorry. I know who I'm after now. All happens tomorrow in court. Huh. Okay, I think we can potentially wrap this up. Or at least get through the next day of court. Oh, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. I thought he wasn't supposed to be working the case. Time to bring down a little justice. What was that? He is heard but unseen. Who's that talking? What are you doing here? You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valen? A preposterous proposition. How could I stand to stand up on the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Ooh, with vanishing magic? Indeed. I will jump upon a express train and express myself to the next town over. You know, you're still kind of suspicious, buddy. The grand grammary glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. Yeah, I know. The whole magic trick. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell. There he goes. Sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Well, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. Big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. And usually it involves cutting up things like people or elephants. Or the Eiffel Tower. Anything, really. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Yeah. Or what he meant by it being the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Excuse me, sir. Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. Sorry for the inconvenience. Huh? Did something happen? This is a first. It's by the judge's request. Some urgent personal business. Great. I bet he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital again. The hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning. Chief Justice's son. That's right. Remember yesterday morning the judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. There's an article about it in the newspaper. If you care to read about it yourself. Hey, that looks familiar. First case in country, oh boy. Let you read that article for us, Apollo. Just leave the TV guide page to me. Try not to lose the page of the funnies if you can. My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of, how do you say this name again? Machi Tabaye, our suspect Fortissimo. Right, it's his trial in any case. Defense is prepared, Your Honor. Prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor? No, well, yes, it's just I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time. The article said there is no known cure. Ahem. Okay, nothing more about it, huh? Now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law. Indeed. Left off at quite the juncture yesterday. Just interpol about that number. Agent registered under this number was Romain Latouche. And then she identified his voice. A sensational ending. Who would have thought Daryan would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect? I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings. Frank Crescent is a member of my band, the Gavners. He's also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet, after investigation, I've found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Hair Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi? Let us review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Gavners ripped up the stage during the first set.
For the second set, our guest took center stage. With performers appearing were myself, Lamaror, and Machi, along with a drummer and bassist for a total of 5. But not a lead guitarist. You know, it says established time of death is an entire half hour. The defendant, Machitabaye, had left the stage at that point, and the Gaviners were already romping. This is when 2 shots rang out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Skye, mind you. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lamaror himself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime, when she claims to have heard Mr. Latouche and Detective Crescent talking. But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was, precisely, Detective Crescent was on stage, getting his groove on, no less. Voila. A perfect alibi. Does the defense have anything to add to this? It's true, when I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something there that doesn't quite add up. It appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Darien Crescent's alibi has been acknowledged, which means that Lamaror was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true. Very well. Of course, if we disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections. Apollo, if he declares a verdict now, Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lamaror might have been lying to protect Machi. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait, what about yesterday in the detention center? What about the case? What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latouche's death. Machi was trying to tell us something, I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him, under oath. What's his name again? Your Honor. No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquise or... Mr. Justice? Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who, until now, has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean... I do. The defense calls Defendant Machitabaye to the stand. She doesn't speak English. We'll use an interpreter. I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases, such as I love you and where's the toilet. The defense would like to request Lamaror as the interpreter. But there's a possibility she's protecting the defendant. She'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie? This is most unusual. Bravo, Herr Forehead. Herr Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lamaror lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. Well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, I see little cause for refusal. Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lamaror to the witness stand. I suppose there is a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with. If you would, Lamaror. Yes. He says Machitabaye, the defendant. This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular. So far, so good. Very well. Mr. Justice, if you would. Huh? If I would what, Your Honor? Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about? What do you want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet. Apollo, aren't you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I might speak. Just now, Machi said there is something about which he wishes to testify. He wants to testify about something. What could it be? What sort of testimony is he talking about? A moment, please. What? What? Well, Lamaror, according to Machi, he has proof of his innocence. What? This is a surprise. We haven't done anything yet. Sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means. If that's true, then this is vital testimony. I mean, Machi, please testify at the court. Very well. Word of Mr. Latus's death came as a great shock, but the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song. I, that is he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely. I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lammermoor to know the meaning of that song. Lammermoor, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, never in so much detail, and he never asked. As my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead, Lammermoor might be protecting the witness. Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would. Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. Okay, so something is up. So choose close. Yes, after we traveled around the world on tour together. Lammermoor, this is Machi's cross-examination, not yours. But I knew the answer. This is a court of law. We'll play by the book. I understand. Prosecutor Gaffin's tough. He's really tough. Machi says he was very good friends with Mr. Latus. He's always a credential man, never angry. We got along quite well. I never dreamed something like this would happen. I truly followed the lyrics of the song. And the guitar serenade, correct? After the key ring, the burning guitar, and the bullet, this is why it could not have been me. Could not have done it, you mean? It is very simple. Machi could not have done all the things that happened that day, for all those things followed the song lyrics closely. Wouldn't it be difficult for him to perform without knowing the meaning of the lyrics? Well, I mean, he's just playing the piano, so I guess it's right. I told him it was a song about a guitar I love. It's not actually the guitar that's in love, strictly speaking. Perhaps I misunderstood, but yours is also a valid interpretation. No, it is my fault. I'm too used to singing in Borginian. It's much easier than trying to understand these English lyrics. I knew he was innocent. Something's fishy about this. It is strange that we are... I mean, it could also be her. I'm guessing it's either her face, her hands, or his face. It wouldn't be her hands in this one.
guess it's in the last one?
Gotcha!
Machi, you can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment Lemuror said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned the name for this language, that is all. Give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but... I'm sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It is simple, so simple that hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Borginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. If, ha 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 ha! They haven't mentioned it yet. Uh-huh. I have here a Borginian newspaper, the Borginian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics. What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Borginian newspaper. What does this mean? I don't see how it's possible. I know. You must have heard the lyrics when the police were during their questioning. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So, the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain himself. Machi says, he says, it is true I read the newspaper. This is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says you heard of the lyrics from me. What? Is this true, Lemuror? Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. And it looks like your forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. It seems so, yes. No, I was onto something, I know it. I can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today, Mr. Justice. Are you finished with the cross-examination? If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I better have an angle of attack. Or else... Bracelet's still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue. If you must, you must. Very well. Witness. I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court it was I who explained. I see there is little point in trying to hide anything from you. Are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. You're protecting... I mean... Gee, that's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. I believe you didn't do it, really. I trust you, but you've lied to us twice, and now you have Lammeror lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. Mm-hmm. Do you understand English? Yes, a little only. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lammeror? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise. How many secrets is this witness hiding? Last. Machi, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk, manager, he on floor. Which would be after the shooting, right? Then there is voice. Voice or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Machi went in the dressing room, Mr. Latouche had already been shot. And then we came to the door. Panel high up, I take off, run away. So as you escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has upheld all along, no less. The defendant is admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? No, he's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Manager on floor, already on floor. The victim had already been shot, you say. I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's clammed up, Apollo. Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness? Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait, no, of course there is. That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Machi, please, tell us the truth for your own sake. No, no more speak, not to any of you. So much for your precious trust here, Forehead. Hey, you were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse. It does seem the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed. Being real generous. I'm gonna step away for one moment. Actually, no, that won't be necessary. We'll keep going. Apollo Eustace. That's justice. Better learn how to say it if you ever want to get some. Believe, I know shooting. Machi claims Mr. Latouche was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it. Suddenly, I hear a revolver. Close, very close. Then I hear voice. You heard gunshots? Yes, it's true, I hear a revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latouche already dead, and then you heard shots? If that's true. So, you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots, and you escaped through the air vent. I know. What do you know? I know if I open a vent, I can leave stage and backstage. So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area. Is that what he means? I mean, yeah, presumably. But how did you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hall or something. I hear this from a magician. No. Don't look at me. A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latouche. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots? That one's going to go over well in court. Not. Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me. I'll just pretend you misheard him every time. So what do we do? You're sure you won't testify, Machi? No talking, no. Well, it was worth a shot. That cocoon. Can't go home. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo, so what's your plan? Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant? Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk. Very well. So will he testify? Your Honor, the defendant will not testify. What? Shame. And here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor. Different angle? Machi won't testify. Then I know who will. I'd like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Lamoureux.
Objection!
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Lamoureux's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... Lamoureux was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honor. Someone wanted Lamoureux dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? I've heard no such report. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would anyone be out to kill Lamoureux? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been? You don't think? I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something the killer doesn't want getting out. So am I to understand that this is what you are saying, namely that there is a nugget of truth in Lamoureux's testimony, a nugget we have yet to uncover? Exactly. If Lamoureux was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Lamoureux's testimony once more. I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent, and I will do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darian Crescent, yes? That is correct, at which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof. You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice. I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know. And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness will be so kind as to testify once more to the court. Of course, Your Honor. Hold on a minute. My distinct displeasure to say this, what you have said to have happened, is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lamoureux was attacked because of this testimony. What? Trucy? Apollo? You know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness. From the stage to the backstage exit. She's saying the same thing she said before. Sorry, it's nothing. Please continue with your testimony. Now I know what they mean about the reckless youth these days. One red over there is a shining example, Herr Judge. You're the last pointer who should be pointing fingers, Mr. Rockstar. I don't know his name at the time. Essentially, I need to remind you that's impossible. There's no way you could have heard him, because the window at the scene was closed. Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. What they were saying to each other. So, please tell us. It's reflection, but... Phrase clearly. Whole phrase? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? My memory is clear. I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. This could be it. Well, what did he say? It's the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche. What did he say? It's over. Press the switch. Now. Huh. I found it quite strange myself afterward. It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? I mean, sure, I'd be delighted. It's very, very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo? Wonder if I could ask the other thing. Nope, seems not. Before I go back to that one, though, I don't think this is going to be... Yeah. I don't think this has changed. Why didn't you tell someone? For me, I would have gone to the police right away. It's our duty as citizens. It's maybe beside the point, but Lammermoor isn't a citizen. One would hope such common sense prevails in Borginia as well. Yeah, exactly why were you in a hurry? To go where? It's on my way to the backstage exit, as I have said. Why were you in such a hurry, then? Well, I don't think that has anything to... Very well might. Please answer the question. All right, Lammermoor. Yes. Yes, I'm just tired. Recall what I told you yesterday, Herr Forehead. Lammermoor suffers from serious amnesia. Please refrain from traumatizing her further. So you can just dismiss questions he thinks are too traumatizing? Prove a reason and a connection to the case before asking about it, yeah? Sustained. The current question is moot. Mr. Justice, please continue with the cross-examination. Okay. So, something about this is fishy. And I think we're not going to find out until we figure this out. I think I know what to present here, but I'm going to check it anyway. What of it? Well, maybe when he said press the switch, he really meant to say pull the trigger. Because his English isn't so good. No. Ryan Crescent is a native speaker. Oh, alright. Sorry, I kind of forgot who was what. Well, let's find out where this goes.
Objection!
Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. No? Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch, save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene, but it just so happens I have a switch right here. Certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? Problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. The stage? Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there, on the stage, claiming the voice Lamoureux heard was of someone commanding another to press this switch. It's a possibility.
Objection!
Oh, Herr Forehead, I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to run the court at the layout of the concert forum. The stage is quite far from Lamoureux's dressing room. Not to mention, not that far. They're known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard. In fact, his voice was loud, but certainly not a shout. So too have Herr Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? You heard what I said, or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on stage from the dressing room.
Take that!
Perhaps you're familiar with this. Why, that's... What is it? It's some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I was looking? Not quite. From what I've heard, that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Is that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually. They're for talking between band members. We all had one on. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple.
Objection!
True, but wait, those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. She says about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Ah, exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. It can't be. So when Lamoureux heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage.
Objection!
You're claiming this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? And the shooter said press the switch. Well, I guess we don't. Unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it. Sure, this was the way to go with this. What is the switch anyway? We don't even know that basic fact. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this. Okay. So whoever is in the room tells someone to press the switch. They're 30 feet away. They press the switch on stage. That causes Gavin's guitar to catch on fire. Because if that's what it ignited, if that's what it's for, is igniting the thing, and that's what caused his guitar to catch on fire. But that wasn't during the third set. That was during... That was when he was up on the platform and they were doing the... 9 to 9:30. Uh-huh. Which means maybe the murder didn't happen when we thought it happened. But the switch, right? We know what it is. Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. I have no further information to share concerning the switch. Your Honor, I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is. Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking the switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is?
Take that!
Remember this. That's that what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones? This is an igniter. The phone looks like this. You mean it's like a lighter? Yes, actually. You aren't saying this switch is a remote. I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you. Yow, yow, yow. Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom. Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I expected. My whiskers had caught on fire. Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. The switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance. In that part of the stage show, though, Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned, and the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. He got it in Borginian. He said the sound was amazing, before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Her forehead. Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice heard by Lamaror, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire. Well, that does seem to make sense. Though something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really? It seems pretty simple to me. Her forehead, don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong. Tell us about Prosecutor Gavin. This simple story simply makes no sense. Think, that night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. That's right, of course. Uh-huh. Indeed, yet the shooting happened during the third set. Did it? This story makes no sense. Are you sure about that? Exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. Premise is this specifically. I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act. She heard shots and found the body. But we assumed that he had just been shot. But if you think about it, how quickly was he going to bleed out if he was shot, like, in the shoulder? I mean, even if it was a big puncture wound, I don't know that he would bleed out that quickly. If it was just a shoulder wound. So maybe he was shot earlier. Shots rang out, and according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time. Tell me with this, Mr. Justice. Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony, namely that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane. Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote-triggered igniter was inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance, the second act. Which means... I mean, I guess there was like a recording of the shots? That goes against the evidence. What does, Your Honor? This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes? He's right. Look. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. And just why is it supposed to come? Why do the events have to follow the lyrics? Look, why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through, with little merit for the person doing it. I'm sure whoever it was had some reason. Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics, saying the order was reversed on purpose. If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes, the shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet Herr Forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. Because the criminal doesn't want to be caught doing their crime, obviously. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd follow the lyrics the whole way. That would explain this most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second. Which, we know who that is. Sadly, it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic, for it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, a contradiction, Herr Forehead, one I've pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lammermoor have heard a voice through it? Oh. I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Lammermoor's testimony is my entire case. That voice she heard, the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch, and near the crime scene we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter, and last but not least, the Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work? The crime scene was investigated immediately after the crime. That window was closed. But that was in the third act. So there's plenty of time to close it if it happened earlier. Okay, Justice, you've got one thing to prove and one thing only. Lammermoor heard a voice. And she heard it during the second set. The window was open. If the window's open, it had to be for her to hear the voice. News bulletin, Herr Forehead. That horse is dead. Stop beating it for all our sakes. That window was closed. This is a hard fact reported by the investigation team. But, oh, you have evidence to the contrary, perhaps? Well, no, but then do be quiet. I tire of this charade. Well, it's not this. I investigated the scene. The window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it had it been open either. Meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. I could hear you making sense again. For a moment I was afraid you might be a Borginian too. As I was saying, Lammermoor could not hear the voice through that window, so there can only be one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. You do amuse me so, and here I thought you and Good Sense were back on speaking terms. Now I'm afraid you and Good Sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I interpret for you, Hair Forehead? Lammermoor clearly stated she heard the voice through that small window. There's only one small window. There's only one small visual window. Haha, haha, haha. But there's another small audio window. It's the voice from another location. Show us where she heard the voice from here.
Take that!
That's no small window. That's the air vent. What did she tell us? She said she's a Borginian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window.
Objection!
Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. Lammermoor was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's... No. She wasn't up in the ventilation system listening to his voice. She was up there for a different reason. Because if this was during the second act, and it was while... Okay. So if this happens... When Prosecutor Gavin's guitar is being set on fire is in the middle of when she is being quote-unquote teleported from one section of the stage to the other. How does she get there? Well, she had to have been in a hurry. This is why she was in a hurry. She couldn't stop because she was in the middle of getting from one stage to another through the secret tunnel. Secret tunnel. Yeah. Logical? I do not think this word means what you think it means, Hair Forehead. That's another nice reference. What about it isn't logical? That hardly merits saying. Why would Lammermoor be in the ventilation system, hiding like a rat? No offense intended to her, of course. Explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lammermoor? You have been listening to our discussion here, yes? Yes. I admit it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? Because the air vent has holes in it even though it's closed. The prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. The problem here is words. Lammermoor, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room? Not low on a wall. Yes, it was up on the ceiling. Simple mistranslation. Saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room, and that's where you heard the moment of the crime. In fact, I was. I'm sorry, I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up? Apollo! Come on, man, you've got to know at this point. It happened during the performance. Time for another testimony. Not sure I can't. She swore she wouldn't say anything. Before you witnessed the crime from the ceiling of that room. Please. Looks like I'm on the right track. Above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter. Well, I mean, that's... There's only one thing we know of that she's bound to secrecy about. Many obligations to uphold, but you say you were in the middle of your performance. This did happen during the second set. I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know what I heard. But you must tell us what you were doing in detail. That's what the cross-examination is for, yeah, Hair Forehead? Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission. Very well. Let me begin the cross-examination. I mean, I think I already know what's happened here. still want to press things. Above the ceiling. Be more specific. I cannot, because you're bound to secrecy. I was not supposed to even say I was above the ceiling. I dare not say more.
Hold it!
I remembered I needed to be careful of where I put my hands and feet. I cannot see the light coming through the window, of course. Well, there you go. Could trip you up, certainly. I was walking very carefully when I heard the gunshots. Startled, I crouched and listened. That is when I heard his voice come from the room. I knew something terrible had happened, yet...
Hold it!
Not a word, you just let the third set start. After the curtain closed for the second set, there was still much to do. I could have prevented this whole misunderstanding if you'd only told us sooner. As perhaps I could have. See little point in badgering the witness. What's done is done. Lost my voice in the middle of a show and kept on singing completely unaware. Singing without a voice? If only all contradictions were so obvious. Yeah, Apollo, I think you're just gonna have to figure out what happened. Which is, if you think about when it happened, it's real obvious. Because there's only one time during the second set when she wasn't visible. Thought you all knew. No one asked me. I told you Machi was not the killer. I told you this many times. Of course, because to her, she was like, of course he can't be the killer. He's on stage playing piano when this happened. She never told us why. I'm sorry. I was not able to speak of it. The stage, Apollo. She couldn't have been up above the ceiling, too. Yes, she could. I've got a theory as to why, too, and maybe I've got the evidence to prove it. I mean, this was definitely the one. I think perhaps that is alright. It's just a name, after all. It was Valent Grammary. Perhaps you know him. What? Well, I mean, if it wasn't super obvious before, it's ultra obvious now. Who's Valent Grammary? Judge is like, who's that guy? Grand Magician, the one responsible for the illusion performed during our concert. Interesting reaction, Prosecutor Gavin. It's bound to secrecy. It's going to take some hard-hitting proof to make her talk. I think I know why she was up there, but how do I prove it? Probably the tape. Yeah, I'm guessing it's the tape. Just where? You had no time to report because you were busy moving. Okay, maybe it's supposed to be the last one.
Objection!
Okay, I know what the problem is. Wait a minute. Hold on. Aha! Okay. Wait. Actually, we can probably forward. I mean, it's right there. And now it's not. I didn't see it before. Something I should have noticed. Okay, so now I wonder... Okay, I tried this one. I tried this one. Maybe it's this one?
Objection!
Okay. Truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear, especially when you consider what happened during your performance. It's all right here on this video. And that's the proof that that's what happened. Because in between the beginning and the ending, she loses it. Probably when she got startled, it fell off, and that's why it's in the room. Yep. As you can see, Lemmonware was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me to be so realistic, Lemmonware is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. The only explanation is that she was hidden from view, and during that time, she moved to the back of the forum. What, Trucy? It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules. But I'm a lawyer. I'm not supposed to be nice. It's all very fascinating. How is it possible? There is only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She could... Right, that's why she didn't have time, because she had to keep moving. Something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Aha, he's just realizing his own oversight. Oh, right, he would have known what happened, so now he's realizing, oh, Apollo's right about all of this. Okay, I'm glad they didn't have me try to, like, pinpoint the exact places where those things were. Lemmonware's testimony from yesterday. It's on my way from this. Yeah. She went from the stage to the backstage exit, a perfect description of this route above the ceiling. Lemmonware knew of this because of her part in the illusion, but she wasn't the only one who knew. Just now in the lobby, Machi told me something. I know if I open a vent, I can leave stage and backstage. You said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course, yet I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? She's only revealed details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. This is why he bound her to secrecy. Well, I'm impressed, Mr. Attorney. Machi was right about you. What does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling? I did. Oh, that's that. but I'm still a little confused. Why is that, Your Honor? As I said before, there's very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice. That's a good question. Can the witness explain this to the court? I cannot. Very well, Mr. Justice. Yes. It's all up to you. Do your thing. What thing, Your Honor? Can you explain how Lemmeror was able to teleport like she did? Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater. Why do I get picked on? It's her who isn't going along with the program here. As I've stated before, I'm not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail. You'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her. Right. I feel like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo. Exactly as I was instructed. There's an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice. "2 minutes, you say? The mystery deepens. I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something. It's just my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice." All I have to do is find the contradiction between what she's saying and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I am a magician after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. Can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. You're supposed to be on my side here.
Hold it!
Much too fast to have been walking. Tell the truth. You rode some kind of vehicle. What? A vehicle? What vehicle? What a novel idea. I like it. Hey, that's not a bad guess. Wrong, but not bad. The vent was much too small for vehicles. It's a tight fit. Even I had to crouch as I walked. I can't imagine a vehicle that would fit in such a small space. If it wasn't a vehicle, what was it? You had me going for a while there, Mr. Justice. Too bad. Ready for the next part? Backstage, the station waited. Only a few that were needed to help. Need no basis. You know what? I will be right back. Okay. One needed to open the emergency exit. The door to the stairs is locked, but once through there...
Hold it!
So when you came back out, you were behind the audience. Not a bad show if I do say so myself. But on the video, you were only gone for 20 seconds. How is that possible? That's the part I don't get either. It'd be hard to go so far in only 20 seconds. They're in 2 minutes.
Hold it!
It could be done in 1 minute if you are running. Running? In that cramped, dark tunnel above the ceiling?
Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me. Now that's true, but you're saying that on the night of the concert you made the trip in 2 minutes? Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. It disappears in the video for 20 seconds, but she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? In my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer's right there in that video. I'm gonna have to watch it again, I think. Two minutes. 20 seconds. There's some evidence for us. Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony. Let's explain the discrepancy. Hold on. You want this one, Trucy? Sorry, I don't work in evidence. I don't work in tricks. I'm an attorney, not a magician, for crying out loud. Phew, but I find this mystery fascinating. I'm not letting this trial go any further until we get to the bottom of it. The defense will continue with the cross-examination until we have some answers. Forget the case. The judge just wants to know how this magic trick works.
Hold it!
Meow meow.
Objection! Objection!
Morton's objection overruled. Yeah, he's really just like, nope. Tell us about the illusion.
minutes. Oh. I get all of... I think I understand everything about this except the time. At least I think I understand everything about this. Minutes. Video. It's one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between video and testimony. I feel like it's either this diagram, the video itself. Can't be the mixing board. Like, the mixing board would have worked if it was just the sound. But she physically it's not going to affect the physical disappearance. Magical key to unlocking this illusion's dark secret. That's how it works. Quickly. I can't bear the suspense. It's kind of hoping someone else would jump in at this point. Oh, you see... Your judge, I do hate to spoil the mood. I haven't the faintest idea what he's talking about, and neither does he. A little confused too there, Apollo. Right, by which I conclude that I was wrong. Oh. Mr. Justice, I'm holding you responsible for spoiling my mood. Okay, so maybe it's in the video itself?
Hold it!
I mean, it's gotta be the video.
Take that! Objection!
I mean, you could also just present the video here. But I think... Okay, that didn't do anything. Nope, that's not it. I don't know what the trick is here. The judge is just angry that I couldn't explain the trick to him, so he finds the defendant guilty. I mean, this is a direct contradiction. Because they're not gone for 2 minutes. Whatever. Okay, it's gotta be...
Hold it!
2 minutes. Maybe the trigger also does something with the... No.
Objection!
No.
Hold it! Objection! Objection! Hold it!
Okay. So it's not in the mixing board. It's not the videotape. It's not the remote trigger. It's not gonna be this. It's not gonna be this. It's not gonna be this. I mean, there's also this. I remember this brooch. Yesterday, did we not? Found the senior honor. And you're bringing this up now. Why? I thought we had already determined when that was dropped. So did I, but we hadn't. Okay, so I mean... I guess the whole 2 minutes, 20 seconds thing isn't a discrepancy. Like, yeah, I get this part. So she comes back and it's gone, but she doesn't magically go faster by it disappearing. So is she just lying that it actually takes a minute? I guess that's the reason? Or that's the bit? Bridge disappeared in a short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can only be one explanation. So for the vanishing act and level we see after, two different people? What? Birch was found before the crime scene. Not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. So it fell out when she was going by? Tell me, did you drop the birch on your way from the stage to the backstage? The very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did. Okay. Prosecutor Gavin, from your expression, I gather you had no idea this is the case here, Judge. I, of course, knew about it. But don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So I was right, there was a switch. There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, Lamaror was replaced. While we're on the subject, just who is this replacement? Why, the man behind the illusion, Valiant Grammary. That's quite the illusion, but I still don't get one thing. The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on the stage. That's right. But this, fake Lamaror is still singing. And she's pretty good. That's where the mixing board comes in, I think. Yeah. Playing a recording. Governors aren't some kind of air guitar band, Fräulein. I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live, no recordings. Perhaps you can explain. Very well. I had to keep singing even while I... Singing? You haven't expressed a dislike for recordings, so I use this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time, even when you were crawling above the ceiling towards the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing when everywhere I go is the same darkness? I mean, that's a good point. If you were singing while you were walking, that's right, wouldn't the shooter and the victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads after all. That is right. Are you sure? You have to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. The old speaker. The speaker is blaring at the time of the murder. That's for monitoring the stage from this room. Pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones. Just for knowing when your set is coming up. The dressing room is fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage. At my request, actually. So her singing in the ceiling sounded just like her singing over the speaker. Ah, okay. By her voice. There should have been like a... It's a pretty good delay system, though. I just remembered something. When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes, it startled me, so I stopped singing. What? I got the words I was supposed to sing. The song stopped. Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse. Let's watch it again. I mean, I guess. Not many would notice. Forehead, that mixing board I lent you. Where is it? Mixing, huh? Machine Apollo, the one that breaks music into tracks. This thing, I completely forgotten about it. Let's take a listen.
I'm gonna stop there. Must have missed it. Look at the lyric sheet. Oh, it's supposed to be twice. Ah. I just thought that was like a weird cadence. Right. I believe we were guilty of making a terrible mistake. Crime didn't happen during the third set, it happened during the second, during Lamoureux's ballad. If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter, which means that Darian Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains. Your forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon Lamoureux's testimony. Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant? You have no proof. All I'm saying is that the truth is as yet unclear, till we hear directly from the man himself. Yes, though he is a friend and band member, Darian Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way. Someone with new perspective on the case. As a suspect, to be frank. It's a good time as any to pause for a brief recess. Prosecution will summon a witness, have him here and ready by the time we begin. The last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are. Very well, court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess. Alright. I thought we were going to wrap it up, this case tonight, but it is getting pretty late, and I do have work in the morning, so I'm going to have to call it here, unfortunately. Got pretty far, though. And I guess next time, we really are going to have to take on the suspect and figure out how he did it. Although I think we know most of it at this point. But I guess there's probably still a few things to clear up. So, yeah. Well, until next time. I don't know when I'm going to be able to stream this week. I am going to be out at least a couple of evenings. But I'm not sure which ones, so we'll see. But until then, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, catch the video if you missed the stream, and I'll see you next time.